Gretchen Rubin, a Yale Law School graduate and former Supreme Court clerk, embarked on a journey that would redefine her life and resonate with millions worldwide. In 2009, she published The Happiness Project, a book that quickly became a New York Times bestseller and a cultural phenomenon. The premise of The Happiness Project is disarmingly simple, yet profoundly ambitious. Rubin dedicated an entire year to an intensive experiment in happiness. Feeling a vague sense of restlessness, despite a seemingly fulfilling life, she set out to systematically research, test, and implement strategies aimed at increasing her own happiness. The book meticulously documents this journey, month by month, as she tackles various aspects of her life from energy and productivity to money and mindfulness, with an aim to cultivate greater joy and contentment. Even over a decade since its initial publication, The Happiness Project continues to be a highly relevant and enduringly popular work. Its appeal lies in Rubin's relatable honesty, a rigorous yet accessible approach to a complex subject, and the practical, actionable insights she offers. The book serves as an inspiring guide for anyone seeking to understand and actively pursue happiness in their own lives, making it a timeless resource in the ongoing quest for well-being. The Happiness Project offers a practical framework for cultivating happiness, emphasizing that it's not a static state to be achieved, but an ongoing process. Rubin's core philosophy centers on the idea that small, consistent, and actionable steps can lead to significant improvements in one's overall well-being. She rejects the notion of waiting for happiness to simply happen, instead advocating for a proactive, disciplined approach. The central premise of the book is that happiness is a journey, not a destination. Rubin's year-long experiment underscores this, as she continuously tries different strategies, adapts them, and learns from both successes and setbacks. The project aspect highlights that happiness requires consistent effort, self-awareness, and a willingness to experiment. It's about building habits and making conscious choices that align with a happier life, rather than expecting a single revelation to transform everything. Crucially, Rubin acknowledges the vital role of individual personality in this pursuit. She understands that what works for one person might not work for another. Her later work, particularly The Four Tendencies, delves deeper into this concept, categorizing individuals into upholders, questioners, obligers, and rebels, based on how they respond to inner and outer expectations. This framework, while developed after The Happiness Project, is implicit in her earlier work, as she consistently emphasizes the importance of tailoring happiness strategies to one's unique temperament, strengths, and weaknesses. For example, some might thrive on strict routines, while others need more flexibility. Some are motivated by external accountability, while others respond better to internal desires. The Happiness Project encourages readers to engage in their own self-discovery to identify the most effective paths to happiness for them. Gretchen Rubin's The Four Tendencies is a powerful framework that categorizes individuals based on how they respond to expectations, both outer expectations like work, deadlines, or requests from others, and inner expectations like New Year's resolutions or personal goals. Understanding your tendency can provide significant self-knowledge, helping you to design strategies that align with your natural inclinations and ultimately foster greater happiness. Here's an explanation of the four tendencies. Upholder. Upholders readily meet both outer and inner expectations.
How?
They are self-disciplined and committed, often thriving on schedules, rules, and routines. For an upholder, discipline is freedom, and they typically have no trouble keeping promises to themselves or others. Example: if an upholder decides to start exercising daily, they will likely stick to it without external accountability. Questioner. Questioners question all expectations, whether outer or inner. They will only meet an expectation if they believe it makes sense and is justified. Essentially, they turn all outer expectations into inner expectations. That must align with their own reasoning and standards. They resist anything they deem arbitrary or inefficient. Example: a questioner might thoroughly research the benefits of a new diet before committing to it, and if convinced, will follow it diligently. If not, they'll dismiss it. Obligers readily meet outer expectations, but struggle to meet inner expectations. They thrive on external accountability, and often find it easier to do things for others than for themselves. They need external deadlines, supervision, or a strong sense of being counted on to follow through on personal goals. Example: an obliger who wants to exercise might find success by joining a team or working with a trainer, where others are relying on them to show up. They might struggle to exercise consistently if it's solely a personal goal. Rebel. Rebels resist all expectations, both outer and inner. They want to do what they want, in their own way, in their own time. They dislike being told what to do, even by themselves, and often find motivation in a spirit of resistance, or by asserting their identity. Example: a rebel might refuse to follow a strict diet plan, but will enthusiastically cook healthy meals if it's framed as an act of personal freedom or a unique culinary experiment. How recognizing your tendency can help you design a happiness plan. Knowing your tendency is crucial because it allows you to work with your natural inclinations rather than against them. Instead of adopting generic happiness strategies that may not suit you, you can tailor your approach for greater success. For upholders, focus on clear goals, schedules, and routines. You naturally embrace discipline, so leverage this strength to consistently pursue activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Be mindful of upholder tightening, where you might become too rigid. For questioners, provide yourself with strong justifications and data for why certain actions will contribute to your happiness. If an activity makes logical sense to you, you're more likely to adopt it. Be aware of analysis paralysis, where you might delay action due to over-researching. For obligers, build in external accountability for your personal happiness goals. This could involve finding an accountability partner, joining a group, or making public commitments. You thrive when others are counting on you. Watch out for obliger rebellion, which can occur when you feel overwhelmed by external demands and neglect your own needs. For rebels, embrace freedom and choice. Happiness strategies that feel imposed or restrictive will likely backfire. Focus on activities that align with your identity and what you want to do. Frame your happiness pursuits as acts of personal expression or challenging the status quo. By understanding how you respond to expectations, you can create a personalized happiness plan that enhances your strengths and provides effective strategies to navigate your challenges, making your pursuit of a happier life more sustainable and enjoyable. Applying the principles of the Happiness Project to your own life is less about following a rigid formula and more about adopting a mindset of intentionality and self-experimentation. Gretchen Rubin's work provides a flexible framework that can be adapted to anyone's daily existence. Here are some relatable examples of how these principles can be applied. Boost energy, the January theme in the book. Instead of vaguely wanting more energy, set a specific goal like go to bed by 10 p.m. on weekdays or take a 15-minute walk during lunch. For an obliger, this might mean finding an exercise buddy. For a questioner, it could involve researching the sleep recommendations. Be more productive, the February theme. Identify a common time waster, like excessive social media scrolling, and implement a small change. An upholder might schedule specific no-phone hours. A rebel might frame it as taking back control of my time from distracting apps. Lighten up, the March theme. This could involve decluttering a specific area of your home, selling unused items, or forgiving a minor grievance. A questioner might need to understand the psychological benefits of decluttering before acting. An obliger could commit to a decluttering challenge with a friend. Cultivate friendships, the April theme. Make a concrete effort to connect with others. This could be sending a personalized text to an old friend, inviting someone for coffee, or joining a new club. Central to applying these principles is self-awareness. Before you can make effective changes, you need to honestly assess what truly makes you happy, what drains your energy, what motivates you, and what your unique tendency is. This introspection helps you identify areas for improvement and design strategies that are most likely to stick for you. Yes, setting realistic goals is equally crucial. Rubin's approach is about small, manageable changes rather than drastic overhauls. Instead of aiming for perfect happiness, aim for a little bit happier. Break down larger aspirations into tiny, actionable steps. For example, if you want to read more, start with read one chapter before bed, rather than read a book a week. This incremental progress builds momentum and prevents overwhelm. The ultimate aim is to create positive habits that are woven into the fabric of your daily life. Happiness isn't found in grand gestures, but in the accumulation of small, intentional choices. This might mean starting your day with a gratitude practice, taking regular breaks to avoid burnout, or making time for hobbies that genuinely bring you joy. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, the Happiness Project emphasizes the importance of incorporating joy and meaning into daily routines. It's easy to get caught up in the grind of responsibilities. Rubin encourages us to actively seek out and savor moments of pleasure, connection, and purpose. This could be anything from enjoying a perfect cup of coffee, having a meaningful conversation, pursuing a passion project, or simply appreciating the beauty around you. By consciously integrating these elements, everyday life transforms from a series of tasks into a richer, more fulfilling experience. In closing, Gretchen Rubin's The Happiness Project offers far more than just anecdotal musings on joy. It presents a compelling case for the idea that happiness isn't a stroke of luck or a distant destination, but a journey of proactive endeavor requiring intentional effort, self-awareness, and the cultivation of positive habits. By breaking down the daunting concept of being happy into manageable, actionable steps, Rubin empowers us to take ownership of our well-being. Furthermore, her later work on the 4 Tendencies provides an invaluable lens through which to understand our unique motivations, allowing us to tailor our strategies for greater success. In our often fast-paced, demanding modern lives, the principles of the Happiness Project are more relevant than ever. In a world brimming with distractions and external pressures, taking the time to understand what truly brings us joy and meaning, and then deliberately integrating those elements into our daily routines, is a radical act of self-care and empowerment. It reminds us that while we can't control every circumstance, we can choose our responses and design lives that are richer, more fulfilling, and genuinely happier. We highly encourage you to explore the Happiness Project and the 4 Tendencies further. Dive into Rubin's insightful observations and practical experiments. Let her journey inspire you to embark on your own happiness project, a personalized quest to cultivate more joy, meaning, and contentment in your everyday life. Ready to get started on your own happiness journey? Here are some actionable steps. Read the book. Pick up a copy of The Happiness Project. You can find it at your local library, bookstore, or online. Take the 4 Tendencies quiz. Visit Gretchen Rubin's official website and take her free 4 Tendencies quiz to discover your primary tendency. This insight alone can be transformative. Start small. Choose one small area of your life where you'd like to cultivate more happiness. Inspired by Rubin's monthly themes, perhaps focus on boosting energy, lightening up, or being more productive. Identify one actionable step. Based on your chosen area and your tendency, commit to just one specific, measurable action. For example, Upholder. I will go to bed by 10:30 p.m. every weekday night this week. Questioner. I will research the top 3 productivity apps to see if any make sense for me. Obliger. I will find a walking buddy for 3 mornings next week. Rebel. I will skip the pointless meeting and use that time for something I genuinely enjoy. Reflect and adjust. At the end of the week, reflect on how your action went. What worked, what didn't. How can you adjust for the next week? Remember, this is a continuous experiment. Your happiness is a worthwhile pursuit. Start today and discover the profound impact that intentional effort can have on your life. If you like this summary, give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss more best ideas in a nutshell.